We begin with Allah's blessed name, we praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. And we pray for peace and for blessings on all His noble messengers, and in particular on the last of them all, the blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. As we greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu from my sitting room here in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, to you, my Muslim brothers and sisters in Bosnia, in particular, this is a message to the Muslim community of Bosnia, but it also has implications for Kosovo, for Albania, for Macedonia, for that entire region, the Balkans. On June the 20th, July the 20th, you will be marking the anniversary of the event of Srebrenica, where through a sinister agenda being pursued, which was pursued by the Western world and by NATO, a sinister agenda, the city of Srebrenica was abandoned, and the Serbian army launched an attack and took it over, and then Muslims who had gone to Srebrenica as a safe haven, a UN, United Nations mandated safe haven, and United Nations over there was NATO. These Muslims who had gone there as refugees were then caught by this Serbian army, and over a period of 3 days, I believe, the women and children were separated from the men, and the men were slaughtered. Oh yes, the men were slaughtered, systematically slaughtered, and the Serbian army got assistance from so-called United Nations troops, so-called United Nations troops. But the facade, the screen is now open and clear, and we know it was the agenda being pursued by those who are enemies of Islam, hostile to Islam. And they wanted Muslims to be slaughtered, and they got what they wanted. And now they have brought a resolution to the Security Council. The same people who allowed it to happen are the same ones who have now gone to the Security Council of the United Nations for a resolution, British resolution, on what they call the genocide of Srebrenica, where some 7,000 to 8,000 Muslim men and boys were slaughtered. Yes, slaughtered. Our first response to this is to say to the Orthodox Christians that Jesus, the Son of Mary, is coming back. You are a people who have faith in the return of Jesus in physical form. And we Muslims are the only other people on the face of the earth who share with you that belief. The most powerful voice in history ever to have prophesied the return of Jesus, the Son of Mary, the Son of the Virgin Mary, the true Messiah, the most powerful voice in history to have prophesied His return is the voice of Muhammad. Allah's blessing be upon him. And when He returns, I would not want to be around when He deals with those who did the slaughtering of innocent Muslim Bosnians. I would not want to be around, because Jesus, the Son of Mary, is going to be very, very, very angry at such conduct. And it is my opinion, and I want to share this opinion with the Muslims of Bosnia, that I believe that most of the Orthodox Christians of Bosnia, of Serbia, and of that region would also be of the same view, that they would condemn the killing of so many Muslims in Srebrenica. They would certainly not approve of it and applaud it and be part and parcel of a systematic agenda like that of Pharaoh, who in dealing with the Israelites, who he felt that maybe they would threaten his throne, what he did was to embark upon a policy of genocide. Yes, this is the state, this is the government, Egyptian government, of killing all the Israelite baby boys, separating them from the baby girls. Baby girls will survive, baby boys will be killed. That's genocide. Or the European entrance into North America, and they met a wonderful people living in fair and beautiful North America, with all its rivers and streams and lakes with pure water, absolutely pure water. You could go and drink from the rivers and lakes and streams of North America. And these European people came to North America and they slaughtered the American Indians. That's genocide. Oh yes, that's genocide, because that's part and parcel of a policy pursued by all of them. Maybe there were a few dissenting voices, but by and large they approved of this and they participated in the genocide of the American Indian people. But I ask you in Bosnia, the Muslims of Bosnia in particular, the Muslims who are still in Srebrenica and surrounding in Banja Luka and so on, I ask you, do you really believe that the Serbian Orthodox Christians pursued this as a matter of policy, and up to this day they defend it? That yes, it was right, it was just, it was correct to slaughter all those Muslims in Srebrenica? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I hope and pray that events will eventually prove me to be correct. For example, I invite the government of Serbia, I invite the Serbian government in Bosnia to conduct a referendum, if you want to call it that way, amongst the Orthodox Christians of Serbia and Bosnia, and get what they have to say. And my view is that such a referendum will definitely result in a resounding condemnation of the killing of these innocent Muslims and refugees in Srebrenica. Well then, if most of the people condemn the killing, how can you call it a genocide? That's my question. If it is a genocide, it has to be a state policy. Did the state of Bosnia, of Serbia, and the Serbs of Bosnia, did these people have the support of the whole community? That the whole country, all of them were in support of the killing of the Muslims? No, I don't think so. So the best way is to find out. And when you find out, and you get a response from the Orthodox Christians that no, we do not at all approve of it, we regret very much what happened in Srebrenica, you cannot call it a genocide. No. You'll have to find out who are the people who are responsible for the killings and condemn those people. That's right. And punish them. That's right. That's the way to do it. But don't condemn a whole people. That is what you want to do with your British resolution at the Security Council. And Russia, I believe, was very wise in vetoing this wicked resolution, which is only putting gasoline in the fire to keep the flames burning, whereas we want to pursue a different agenda. This is Akhirul Zaman, and Muslims of Bosnia should know that in Akhirul Zaman, our Prophet ﷺ has prophesied that there will be an alliance between Muslims and Christians, and Rome, and Orthodox Christian is Rome. And the Qur'an has spoken, and you should not get your guidance from a shopping mall. I hope the Muslims of Bosnia are listening to me. You do not get your guidance from a shopping mall. You must get your guidance from the Qur'an. And if there are those who want to disregard the Qur'an, then separate yourself from them. You're not a part of them, and they're not a part of you. If you are Muslims, then you must be faithful to the Qur'an and go to the Qur'an for your primary guidance. And when you go to the Qur'an, look at what the Qur'an says. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, I have repeated it so many times, forgive me for repeating it one more time. The Qur'an speaks in Surah Al-Ma'idah, and it speaks about an event which not only took place at the time when the Qur'an was revealed, but which is to come again in the future, because it's fi'l mudariya, in the present and the future, that you will most certainly find in time to come, that those who will have the greatest hatred and enmity and hostility for you would be Jews. And of course, proper methodology, you know, the Qur'an is not talking about all Jews. No, not at all. There are Jews who support us. There are Jews who stand beside us. And there are Jews who condemn the oppression of the state of Israel. Oh yes. So the Qur'an is not speaking about all Jews at all. It says you will find in time to come, most certainly find in time to come, that those who will have the greatest hatred, the greatest enmity, the greatest hostility for you Muslims would be Jews. And also another people who would have the trademark of shirk or blasphemy with them. لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودِ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. And this second group of people is obviously, the Qur'an is talking about modern Western civilization and those who are hijacking modern Western civilization and taking it in the direction of shirk. If Allah has made something haram and you make it halal, that is shirk, isn't it? Well, modern Western civilization is now legalizing the marriage of a man with another man. Yes, that's what they're doing. Allah has made that haram, they make it halal, that is shirk. This is a civilization built on shirk. And this civilization is now under the control of those who are hell-bent in waging war on Islam, while calling it war on terrorism. Okay? But the Qur'an is saying at the same time, when the world witnesses this tremendous Jewish hatred for Islam and Muslims, and this tremendous hatred from those who are pursuing the agenda of modern Western civilization, that you'll also find at that time that those who will be closest in love and affection for you Muslims, remember the words, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. That you will most certainly find at that time, that those who will have the greatest love and affection for you Muslims, while those are being hostile to you, these would be the Christians. And Nasara, the Christians. Which Christians is Allah talking about? How can we identify them? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمُ الْكِسِّسِينَ وَالرَّحْمَانَ وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. They will have the way you will recognize these Christians who will be closest in love and affection for you Muslims would be this way, that they will have amongst them priesthood and Rahbaniya, the institution of monasticism, the monastery. And they would not be an arrogant people. No. They would not therefore have the agenda, this arrogant agenda that Europe has, Western Europe has, that the European Union has, this arrogant agenda that modern Western civilization has, those who control it, of transforming the rest of the world into carbon copies of themselves. That's arrogance. But these are not Christians like that. Who are they? My answer is that Allah is talking about Orthodox Christianity in particular. While there will also be some Christians in the Western world who will also show love and affection for us Muslims. Yes. But as a group, it is Orthodox Christianity that the Qur'an is talking about. And I hope and pray that in time to come, my views are going to be validated when I speak about Orthodox Christianity. that both Muslims and Orthodox Christians are being targeted. Both of us are being targeted by the same enemy, by NATO. They want to wage war on Russia. Unless you were sleeping, you would know that they want to wage war on Russia. Oh yes. So they're waging war on Islam, and they're waging war on Orthodox Christianity as well. That's why Greece has been targeted. Oh yes, because Greece is Orthodox Christian, and Greece is close to Constantinople, therefore to the Bosphorus. That's why Greece has been targeted so viciously. So this is my view, that Allah is speaking about Orthodox Christians. And it is time for Muslims in the Balkans to return to the Qur'an, to understand, well, why is there so much hatred and bitterness and enmity between Muslims and Orthodox Christians in that part of the world? Did it happen by accident that you have this horrible situation that you're now facing? With almost eternal hatred and enmity, and terrible events like the slaughter of the Muslims of Srebrenica, 7,000-8,000 men and boys being slaughtered by a Christian people. Did this situation emerge by accident? No. No. I invite you to ponder over my eschatology. My eschatology tells me that this did not happen by accident, that the Ottoman so-called Islamic Empire was created by Dajjal. It may have had certain things in it which were authentically Islamic, like Saudi Arabia. Oh yes, Saudi Arabia has some things which are authentically Islamic, of course. But Saudi Arabia is the greatest disgrace to the world of Islam today. Not the Saudi people, of course, but those who control power in Saudi Arabia. They are traitors to the cause of Islam. So too with the Ottoman Empire. That there were things that the Ottomans did which were good, and nobody condemns that. But what the Ottoman Empire did was to sabotage over a period of about 500 years of relentless, unjust war on Orthodox Christians. Relentless, unjust, wicked, sinful war on Orthodox Christians by the Ottoman Empire. Why? To sabotage the end-time alliance of Muslims with Orthodox Christians. The Ottomans left such a bitter trail of bloodshed and tears and pain and suffering that the Orthodox Christians cannot forget those 500 years of suffering at the hands of those who said they were Muslims. Yes. So we Muslims have to recognize this is what people did in the name of Islam. If Muslims in Bosnia recognize that this was the work of Dajjal, that this was wrong, this was unjust, this was false, this was not jihad, this was bogus jihad, and that there'd be a lot of punishment for it, then what the Muslims of Bosnia should do, I don't know whether they're doing it as yet, is to condemn, publicly condemn the conduct of the Ottoman Empire in its unjust wars and oppression of the Orthodox Christians of that part of the world. Publicly condemn it. Offer an apology to the Orthodox Christians. Show your sympathy for them in their suffering. That this is not Islam that was responsible for it. And in the name of authentic Islam, we condemn what the Ottoman Empire did. I am doing that, and as a consequence of having done that for the last few years, I'm getting such a wonderful response from the Orthodox Christians in that part of the world, who appreciate that I'm speaking the truth, the absolute truth. It's coming from me. I have just received an invitation from the University of Belgrade, the Faculty of Law. They want me to come and lecture on a topic of my choice, to try to further the building of a bridge between Orthodox Christianity and Islam. Look at how these people are responding. This is the beginning of that friendship that the Qur'an has spoken about in Surah Al-Ma'idah. So the Muslims of Bosnia have to decide. Are you going to remain a spectator, left behind by history, as the Qur'an takes us to a new world in which Christians and Muslims are going to become friends and allies? I'm not talking about Western Christianity, I'm talking about Orthodox Christianity. Or are you going to walk with the Qur'an, to join and be a part and parcel of this fabulous event that is coming now to startle the world? An alliance between Muslims and Orthodox Christians, in which the Orthodox Christians are going to become our dearest friends and allies, closest in love and affection for us Muslims. If I am wrong, then tell me, who are the Christians? Where is the evidence that there are other Christians who are drawing closer to Islam today to become our dearest friends and allies? I say this to you because Russia has just vetoed the Security Council resolution on Srebrenica, and I applaud Russia. Why do I do that? Because the purpose of that resolution was to fan the flames of hatred even more. The Russians were absolutely correct that this is not going to be helpful, this is going to make the situation worse. I want to suggest to you, as your brother, that the Serbs be allowed to offer a referendum amongst them, so that the people, the Orthodox Christians, may have a chance to say, we condemn the killing, the slaughter of the innocent Muslim refugees. We condemn it in Srebrenica. We do not approve of it. We condemn it. And we offer our sympathies to you, the survivors, the family members. Yes, if it's possible for reparations to be made, we are prepared to make reparations for it, because we want to be your friends. We want to rewrite history and try to get away from all those years of Ottoman oppression, because we live today in a world in which we face a common enemy. It's time for the Muslims to respond in Bosnia. If you do not respond, if you do not accept my advice, then brothers and sisters, you're going to be left behind as history moves on to a time that the Qur'an has spoken of. I pray that you will wake up to the situation, you will understand the sinister role of the Ottoman Empire, and you will now respond as I've urged you to condemn the Ottoman oppression over 500 years of Orthodox Christians in that part of the world. I have not spoken about the enslavement of Orthodox Christian women, having them in the harem. I have not spoken about taking Orthodox Christian boys and converting them to Islam and then training them to become the Janissary, the elite fighting force of the Ottoman Empire. I have not spoken about the sinful, the disgraceful, the manifestly sinful transformation of Hagia Sophia from the foremost cathedral of Orthodox Christianity of Rome into a masjid. I'm ashamed of what they did. Ashamed of what they did in the name of Islam. And I apologize to the Christians for what these people did in the name of Islam. And I look forward to the day when Constantinople will be liberated according to the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. It comes after the Malhama, not before. And the Malhama has not as yet taken place. So the conquest of Constantinople is coming. And it is when that conquest takes place that we'll then be able to hand over Hagia Sophia to the Orthodox Christians. This is your cathedral. We want you to take it back. We offer our apologies to you for what people did in the name of Islam in transforming this cathedral into a masjid for the last 500 years, and then to add insult to injury to transform it from a masjid into a museum. I've not spoken about these things. I've spoken only about the oppression of the Orthodox Christians by the Ottoman Empire. Is it not time for you in Bosnia and in that part of the world to stand up, to recognize the truth that I'm speaking, and condemn the Ottoman Empire publicly for what they did to the Orthodox Christians? I pray that Allah might open for you, open your eyes, that you might see the truth and recognize it and accept it and then act in accordance with it. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.